of gold for the construction was 29 talents.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and then you had 730 shekels by the shekel of the sanctuary. So we've seen that before.
When you see the word shekel, what do you picture in your head?
I can't help it. I picture a little penny.
Okay.
Type of
it ends
thing.
up being a coin, but it's not a coin. It's just it's a reference at this point, whatever, of a weight. You know, it's like
a weight.
Right, it's a weight reference. But I do the same thing. As soon as I hear shekel, I think of a coin. Because later on it becomes that.
It becomes a coin, but really you're right. It's the weight.
It's the weight of whatever it is. It's a shekel. In other words, it's a reference, like saying it's an ounce, it's a pound, it's a whatever.
So, and last time I mentioned, the grain weight, 137 grain weight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right, comparing to the...
But what is that in ounces? Well, I did the conversion on that.
Oh, did you?
It's 0.302 ounces. So basically just shy of being 1/3 of an ounce.
Yeah.
Which means my math was off on the value of the silver. Because current value of an ounce of silver is about $15 right now.
Yeah, so a third of that would have been
$5.
How about
so I'm an error there.
Oops.
So I found an error. I erred.
It won't be the first nor the last.
No, because I found another error pertaining to the ingredients. I said the last one, the one that I couldn't pronounce was...
yeah.
I was in error there. Because it's not that, it's the one that I can... They're both C's. Yeah. I was dyslexic. Okay. It's the calamus that gets crushed. The myrrh and the calamus gets crushed. But the one that I can't pronounce, however you pronounce it, that one doesn't get crushed. So I was in there. Okay.
That's why you cry. Yes.
We'll get to that next week.
What I was saying with that is the very word itself, or the name of this portion that we just finished.
Let me go back to there.
The
you're at 35.
Vayachel. And I know you want to. For somebody, you want to emphasize hell.
Yeah.
It's the word kalel, which is the kahal. Forgive me. There we go. That's the right word. Kahal. That's the word that is translated to ecclesia in the New Testament. Okay, that's one of the elements I thought we might delve into, but there was so many other things I wanted to talk about. But the reality is that, how we have the church came about or whatever on the day of Pentecost, and that was the first initial thing on there. But that's an inaccuracy. There's elements of happening of the Spirit, but this spot here is one of the first spots. There's a couple other places where the word is used, but this is one of the earliest places where you have actually the assembly, the assembled people together, the assembled people of God together. Okay, and that is what we would refer to as the church.
That it is.
Okay,
the congregation.
Right,
the assembly,
and the whole word church itself is a created word.
It is.
It's not something that you find actually in the biblical text.
No,
it's created. It was a word that was placed in the thing, King James type of time period. Because he didn't want to use the word congregation, didn't want to use the word assembly, definitely didn't want to use the word synagogue.
That's exactly what they were trying to avoid using.
Right.
Was the word synagogue.
So it's not that the church is bad. No, it's having the understanding that it's something that is the congregation, it is the assembly of the people of God, and that's been an ongoing throughout history of time. There was a very big effort to try to separate that with regard to saying we want to separate anything of Jewishness, Judaism, anything like that with regard to our Gentile world. And that's part of it was done on purpose.
I have the history of that written down at the house.
But it's just to me it is so cool, and especially there's another word that is used in Hebrew text is edah, which is very closely related to kahal, except that it speaks of that particular body being a witnessing body of what's going on. All right, witnessing what's happening, like a testimony.
Okay.
And so, and it speaks well of the congregation, the assembly, the people that make up those that are following God. And so that I just find it funny. It was like this was calling together. Moses was basically calling the first church service here for that particular portion.
But now I'm going to throw something out there because I don't know really. This is not the first assembly of people that was called by Moses. You had the Mount Sinai
exactly.
assembly.
That's what it's another recalling of it. That was an early one. I made passing reference to it back when we had that because that's really the first time you have.
So that was the first time.
Yeah.
Okay, and this is
another one. I mean, it's the calling of people assembling together. That's the element. God's people coming together.
That's interesting.
And it's an interesting thing too. They're called together to do a particular thing.
Yes, they are.
They're to build this tabernacle, right? What are we called to do?
But not on the Sabbath.
No, definitely not.
I wonder if that is why, just occurring, why you are not to build a fire, because a lot of the construction of this requires fire. Sure. And I'm thinking, the Lord did not want anything to be done on the Sabbath, let alone the building of His house on the Sabbath. Mm-hmm. So you will not light a fire for fear you may be tempted to form or fashion or smelt or whatever. Something that goes to this house.
Right, that's the thing, that's real important. That's even part of the stuff that's set aside on there. Even if you're doing something, I'm doing something good.
Yeah. It's not that the fire is bad.
No.
The crafting of the
no, not bad. At all. No, it just deals with sanctification of time.
I can understand why you have the oral passed down, because one of the things that to me, you will do no work, but then there you have...
How is that defined?
Yeah. How is work defined? So, I like to use a woman that likes to play around in the garden. Mm-hmm. I like doing certain things, like going to ride my bike or whatever, and I say that all the time because I really like doing it. Sure. And it's relaxing. Sure. And to me, there's not a lick of work involved. None. And I really spend a lot of time actually on the bike. Yeah. It's me and God. Even though Gloria's on the back,
I know. Those are elements that of what you're doing, because there is not a defining strongly
as to what work is. Now, so the lady working in her flower garden. Yeah. All right. Now, if she's approaching it for, say, I have to get this done, but I have guests coming over, it's now a task, versus doing it recreationally because she actually finds it relaxing, and this is what she does. She sits in the sun and she plays in the dirt and she hums her songs and stuff and all that, because she's getting as much out of that as I do on the bike type of thing.
I have no idea.
I would think that would seem to be a matter of the heart as to what is work and what is not work, more so than what you're actually doing. Yeah. It's the way in which you're doing
that usually is the case in hand.
Yeah.
In other words, that ends up being the thing with regard to all parts of what we're doing. It deals with a heart motivation. That's a huge element. Now, it still doesn't, in other words, my heart was whatever. I'm really wanting to care for another individual or whatever. I realize that individual is not my wife, but I'm caring for them and meeting their needs. And you see, that misses the point.
Yeah. That way, you're in the middle of breaking the commandment to do that.
Yeah, but that's the thing. You're exactly. But my heart was, But I mean, that's where those very important to certain.
So but I was thinking about that. What equals work on the Sabbath versus...
Now, therein lies the element of where you defer to...
And I don't think you can put fences around that. I know they tried.
Well, no, they did.
And they did.
Huge. And trying to define. But therein lies the element of how much weight is then placed upon the oral Torah to find where those things line up.
Because Jesus Christ refutes them when they're having a fit. Well, they just picked weed off the stalk on the Sabbath. They worked, and the Lord said,
rubbed it together. Whatever it says,
and the Lord says, no, that's not the way this is going to go down.
Right?
They weren't toiling and all that, but He does allow for toiling in in emergency situations.
Oh my goodness, yeah, you bet. On Shabbat, if you have always precedence. Always precedence. Now, that's one thing that is cool that is defined in that way. Now, that's where people can get off track for certain, but that's that weighing out there. Yeah, do all the hospitals close in Israel today? No, they don't.
Life takes precedent. Do the policemen go home? No, the protection of life and the public takes precedent.
Yeah. No.
And it always has from the very beginning
of it.
The police aren't breaking the Sabbath because they have a job to do in protecting.
Now, it's interesting. So how it actually is applicable to one's own life, though, is important. Now, some people take it to the spot of like, well, I want to I just know I need to rest every so many days or whatever things. I think there's more to it than that. Mm-hmm. The honor, because there's a specific, for whatever reason, that particular time slot God set apart, and as being defined scripturally, whatever, from that, because it was always being that it was, you had day 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Sabbath.
Yes,
that's what that was. It's that cycle on there, which is fascinating.
That's the model.
And then there's ultimately other Sabbaths that are discussed and things as going on. How we engage in those and how we affect them. One of the most important elements of it, I think, is just that, is having a heart of engagement with that. And then as you press on and study and keep learning and things like that, then you can allow the Lord to guide you into how is better to do it.
Yeah.
That's just like all regards to anything with regard to, we hit Scripture on spots that we're going, well, how is this applying to me? And this is one that makes sense that it's possible to do. Is it easy? No.
No.
It's not.
I have leaves to rake, for Pete's sake. It's got to get done. They aren't going to get themselves done.
And people get married on Saturdays.
Yeah.
And I occasionally have to shoot weddings.
Yeah.
That's work.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, now it's like, all right, that's an example of something like, all right.
Yeah.
Where it's interesting, within communities, that's one of the elements where communities end up being developed that all honor those days, the Sabbath.
And then you don't have to worry about it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's why you had communities developed in that manner, because they're all
like-minded. Yeah.
Right.
So you didn't have to,
you get married.
I'm
on
Christian,
Tuesday.
I don't do that kind of thing, and everybody understood they were all on the same page.
Right.
Yeah.
In which, kind of what God wants people to do is be on the same page.
Yeah, pretty much.
Anyway, but it's an interesting element there. I just
we didn't get to the bronze laver, which has,
oh my gosh, the laver.
And the brass is completely different, and there's a reason for it. It's completely unique. Even the offering for the brass is not part of the common offering.
Yeah.
I mean, everything is totally separate about it. It's unique, even though it's only 2 verses long. It's really quite insightful. We didn't get to do that. They'll have to wait till next year.
Well, it doesn't even have to wait till next year, because you know what? We're going to be talking about, because we're going to be dealing with it through Leviticus.
That's right. We got a second run. All right. We got a different run at it.
That'll be good.
Thanks, because I was kind of feeling a little bummed we don't get to talk about the bronze laver.
No, we are. It will happen. Yeah, no, because we got lots of opportunities through Leviticus.
Okay.
It'll keep showing up.
Fantastic. Well, we're going to leave it there now.
Yes, we will.
And
very cool.